It all started on what seemed to be a normal 5th of June, until people started calling the police to inform them that a woman's corpse had been found in the middle of the street. On the outside, her body didn't show any signs of physical damage. But once the corresponding autopsy was performed, it was discovered that all of her organs had literally exploded. A phenomenon like this had never been seen before, and it really sparked the curiosity of forensic researchers, who asked for an investigation to be opened. And shortly after, they managed to learn the identity of that woman thanks to her fingerprints. The researchers went to the victim's house, and once there, they looked for clues about possible illnesses or substances which could have produced such destruction in her body. But the only thing they found was a diary. They didn't give it any importance at first, although one of the researchers thought that something interesting might be written there. He opened the diary and started to read it. The first pages narrated completely normal days. She was a 45-year-old single woman whose daily routine always started with getting up at 8 in the morning to go jogging. She would then go to work at lunchtime and would party on the weekends. For now, the researcher considered that this woman was pretty normal. Bit older, but young at heart. Her job and social life seemed pretty okay. However, the more he read of the diary, the more his perception of her changed. Her words started to turn into nonsensical scribbles, which started becoming clearer the more entries he checked. And at one point, he managed to perfectly distinguish a drawing of the woman next to the devil. The researcher then saw several drawings in which that woman, now transformed with horns and tail, was devouring all kinds of small children. The scenes were so gruesome that he closed the diary and took it to the police. They then decided to keep looking for information in the diary until they found some sort of countdown. On June 2nd, she wrote 3 days and drew a dismembered corpse inside a container with an address. On June 3rd, she wrote 2 days and drew another grotesque scene. A body being burned on a rooftop from which the entire city could be seen. The corresponding street and the building's address were also written. The countdown kept going in June 4th, where she drew the number 1 next to a skull. And below, there was a drawing of a girl tied to an inverted cross, crying and yelling for help. This time around, there was no address included. Remember that on June 5th is when her body was found in the streets, which explains why that entry on the diary was blank. The police then verified that the bodies depicted in the diary were indeed located at the written addresses, and in the same state shown in the drawings. They never found the last body. However, a mother did report the disappearance of her daughter shortly after, and her appearance matched perfectly the drawing on the diary. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life horror videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.